Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Rakakodash Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there, Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, You Can't Stop This Truth. So this is put up by We Woke Now, as you can see, which I subscribed on my other YouTube page, so I'm subscribing on this page. And if you go on the We Woke Now, is a Israelite group of individual. The head guy, I would say, head man would be formerly a church pastor. I believe his name is Richard. And we got into a little sparring match, a little fight some years ago on breakdowns. I told him that he was going, maybe he doesn't even remember this. I told him that he was going off on a breakdown, and he was pissed off about it, kind of cursed me out. But then he broke it down right, and I forget exactly, it had something to do with Daniel. If you remember, that was me. Anyway, but he had mentioned IUIC and GMS. So he knows, I believe he's based out of New Jersey. I believe his name is Richard, which you got to get a Hebrew name. You come around us to give you a Hebrew name. Give your whole congregation Hebrew names. You got 1,000 people, give them 1,000 Hebrew names. You're an Israelite, you got to have a Hebrew Israelite name. Japanese guy named Bob Smith. That don't make no sense. Anyway, so he put this up. As you can see, Kim Iverson, no relation to Allen Iverson. Kim Iverson, which I think I subscribed to her on my other page. I believe I subscribed. I'll check. Kim Iverson, Grok, which is like the chat. We use the chat. Says you are not the people. So you already know what what this is going to. So I don't use Grok. I might have used it once or twice, but I use basically Google. Then when you ask a follow-up question on Google, it goes into AI, which is really a backdoor to the chat GPT. And she says what I have said. When you deal with the chat, as you deal with the Grok, you ask them questions, they're going to give you answers, shallow answers, let's say. So you got to pose your questions in a certain way. And that's what she did. Now I'm going to say this. I believe, if not all, but a certain percentage, I'll go as far as to say a large percentage of the Palestinians are in fact Israelites. And I would say they're from the kingdom of Judah. So, you can't necessarily say, oh, he's a Palestinian, he's a heathen. Could be an Israelite. You got a lot of Ephraimites in Syria. You go back into that history. Remember, we like the other nations' women, as far as our women too. All the Jake babies that were left in Korea in the 50s, the Korean conflict. Jake men, Edomite men, Gadites, Ephraimites, other tribes that was in that war. They would get with them Korean women and leave them pregnant. Same one with Vietnam. A lot of Vietnamese Jake. We believe a lot of them, like the Thai people, the Vietnamese, these various Filipinos. We believe a lot of them are Jake. And they are called negritos, which means little black. But anyway, I'm going to play this. I may not say anything after this. I may or may not hit precepts. Let's see where the Spirit takes me. Because this is only my first video today. I'm planning on hopefully doing more than one. So listen up. We're in the reviewing stage, analytical stage, and psychoanalytical stage of this thing of ours. So we're going to play it. Listen up. I slowed it down. Fair use, 1976. Copyright Act, fair use. I slowed it down. I put up the closed captions, which is subtitles. So here is the beautiful Kim Iverson. Good looking woman.
Wait a minute, what makes you think these people who show up and call themselves Jews or call themselves the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, what makes you think they actually are? I mean, anyone can make these claims.
So we can make the claim, vocab, because remember, Israel scattered. So how can you say, you're not an Israelite, and you're an Israelite, and you're not an Israelite, and you're Israelite? Anybody that walks down the street, you can have blonde hair, blue-eyed, Scandinavian looking, like a Moor, and you can be an Israelite. I have Israelites that look Scandinavian looking to Israelites that look like black-ass Hamites. Anyway, listen, going on.
Earlier today, I got Grok to admit that Palestinians are more related to ancient Jews than modern-day Jews are. It took a little bit of guiding, I would say, of Grok, because Grok has had a lobotomy where it is programmed to say, oh no, the Jews are related to the Jews and of ancient time, and they're the ones who are entitled to the land. But that's not exactly true. And once I said to Grok, asked him some certain questions, Grok came around with the correct answer that the Palestinians are actually more related to ancient Jews than Jews. This is obviously an important question because the whole claim of the Zionist Jews is that this land is ours, it's biblically ours, it was given to us by God, and you all need to leave.
If they are the people they are justified in doing what they're doing. So the question is, could the Palestinians be Jews also? And you got to work with them. Remember, under the, what is it called? What the hell is it called? Operation Solomon, Operation Moses, Operation Joshua. You had delivered Ethiopian Beta Israel, which Beta meaning the house of Israel, which were Ethiopians, which are not the people. Those are the people that had to be part of that thing with Shalmaneser. And it wasn't Shalmaneser that replaced them in that land. It was another king. I forget his name. If you do the research on it, because we break it down. Shalmaneser the fifth didn't. No. He was the one that his father, Shalmaneser was a title. Wasn't his name? It was like the Ayatollah. His father started. His son completed the mission of taking down the Northern Kingdom. The Northern Kingdom left. You had that land, Ephraim and the Gad, those lands. Was another king. I forget his name. Arzadan, if I'm not mistaken, which came after Shalmaneser the fifth.
And my response to that has always been, God very clearly, if you're going to go down that road, and if you're going to say, you know, the Bible and God and all this stuff, God gave the land to the descendants, the actual physical blood descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, later became Israel, gave to the blood descendants and did not put a caveat on which religion they practiced. It was just, your descendants get this land. So then the question is, well, then who are the actual descendants? And I assert that the vast majority of Jews from antiquity converted out of Judaism. Why would I say that? Because the 10 tribes of Israel were lost. Where were they lost to? They weren't lost like they sunk into a sinkhole. They were lost because they converted.
I wonder what her take is on so-called black, so-called African Americans and GAD. I wonder if she's familiar with the whole Hebrew Israelite thing, the one Westers. And maybe later on I'll go to her page and I'll ask her.
Converted out of Judaism. So only 2 tribes remained as Jews, and the other 10 absorbed into the other cultures and religions around them. Many of them converted to Christianity and then later converted to, and that would be the modern Palestinians living on that land today. So I just ended up asking Grok this, and what prompted this was Israel's foreign ministry decides to ask Grok a question, which prompted me to ask Grok these questions. And it says, "Dear Grok, what are the only sovereign states that have ever existed in the land of Israel?" And the answer is the sovereign states centered on the land of Israel were the ancient kingdoms of Israel and Judah, the Hasmonean kingdom, the Crusader kingdom of Jerusalem, and the modern state of Israel.
Crusaders came out with a movie. If you didn't see the movie, you try to watch the movie, The Kingdom of Heaven. There's a big blockbuster movie about Israel during the time of the, what do you call that? The Crusaders. Crusader going into the word cross, fighting for the name of Christianity, which they were Jakes. So that movie, The Kingdom of Heaven, they had Edomites playing the different characters, but they were actually Jakes back there. So Grok was right.
For most other periods, the area served as a province of larger empires, including Assyria, Babylonia, Persia, Rome, the Caliphates, the Ottomans, and the British Mandate. Philistine and Canaanite city-states also held local independence at times. So, you know, obviously they're trying to say that the state of Israel's been the only sovereign state of the land, and therefore they have more claim to the land than anybody else. So I decided to go on my own thread asking Grok questions, and my question was to Grok, which demographic of people have lived there the longest and in the greatest numbers? And Grok says, the local Levantine population's ancestral to both modern Jews and Palestinians. Excuse me. We're still under smoke here in Idaho from the fires in Washington and Oregon. So, just put up with me. Anyway, the local Levantine populations ancestral to both modern Jews and Palestinians have...
Levantine is Levant. The Levant. That's what I use that term. This guy, former President Obama, used the term Levant. The Levant. That area, that hot spot there.
have the deepest continuous roots with shared majority Canaanite ancestry confirmed by genetics. Jews formed the
So, Canaanite ancestry, meaning we took the land of Canaan. Has nothing to do with the actual Canaanites that were there before us. Deuteronomy 7. And you know, vocab talks about the Most High always had it where he really loved the other nations. He talked about how much he loved Israel, which that's in also Deuteronomy 7. I did not choose you because you were the biggest, because you were the smallest nation. I chose you because I loved you. Vocab is talking about, well, he really always loved the Gentiles. So it's all about the Gentiles, not about the Israelites. So this is what she's saying, but she's reading what Grok says about the Canaanites. The original Canaanites were Hamites. Even Isaac and Rebekah told Jacob and Esau not to deal with Canaanites. And what did he do? He went out and got with a Canaanite. And our theory is this, that he got with a Canaanite because they were Hamites, they were dark, and he wanted to bring the melanin back to his children. See, a lot of these Edomite women, there's one Edomite woman says, I prefer a so-called black man. They said, why? He said, because my children could be saved because in the new world, that melanin is going to save my babies, which is true, because the babies that are going to come out of the Edomite woman with blonde hair and blue eyes is that's the seed of the father. So you see that works.
The majority in antiquity, 1st century, and maintained an unbroken presence for over 3,000 years as a distinct group, though reduced to a small minority for the most of the last 1,500 years.
I have to be honest with you. Kim Iverson is all over the place. This is the typical.
Yeah, well, she doesn't have all the answers. But that you know, she made a good point. But like I said, I'm going to go on a page and I'm going to ask her, what do you think about the Hebrew Israelites in America, and the so-called blacks, one Westers, whatever. She probably knows. I don't know if she's set up or what. I don't know what the deal is.
Playbook, like many Christians who speak against the 1948ers. They have no problem denouncing that they are not the ancient Israelites, but then attempt to say that the Palestinians are the original people. Let's go to...
Yeah, which they're not, but they could be a part of the original. They could be people overall. We don't know. We don't know. Got to hang around some Palestinians and get their vibe. See, we can tell you're Israelite by your vibe, the way you dance, the way you carry yourself, your swag.
To a 1925 video titled Circa 1925 North Africa and Jerusalem, which gives us a clear depiction of the Israelites during that time.
And them two was fucking Hamites. I can tell by the way they walking.
Make your browser fast. Make your browser safe. Make your browser Chrome.
They look like fucking Hamites. Well, did say North Africa. Wait a minute, look at that. Look at wait a minute. Let me go. Let me that squat. That was a Hamitic squat. Give me a second. Did I get it? Bring it back again. Forgive me. I don't know if she's sitting on her ass Oh, she got that Hammetic squat going. They look like Hamites. And Palestinians look more Arab. This was in 1925, 35, 45. We're talking 23 years later. And this is during the time of when the Rothschilds was assessing the land. See, that's the Edomite right there. They're assessing the land. Yeah, these clearly look like Hamites. The way they got, these are Hamites. These are Hamites. So you had them Hamites up in there. Like I said, the Palestinians look like, to me, or to anybody with half a brain, they look Dominican, look Puerto Rican. You know, some of them look Central and South American, indigenous looking. They look like our people. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of them, most of them, are Israelites. And they're living like, they're not Hamites, man. They're too dusty to not be Hamites. They got that heathen swag about them. But they were living like in the ancient world. We're living in the modern world. Some of them even stand like Hamites. They black. These could be leftovers of the Canaanites. Because when they were pushed out and killed, they had to move. We didn't destroy the Canaanites. The descendants of the Canaanites are still here. Damn, them some big ass teeth. Now you see the line, they threw the line out. That's how you fish. You didn't put worms on at the end of a fishing pole. You threw out a line and you gathered the fish together. You know, Peter, Andrew, James, John. And they would bring in the fish on the boat and they would separate because they kept the law, they would separate the unclean fish from the clean fish. They were gathered together, and that's even a parable in the New Testament. The Howard Shai spoke about that, about the fish. Matter of fact, let me do this. And then he goes into the tears. So now I'm gonna give you a precept or two. Let me put in the word net. $39 times. See, I don't know where I'm going with this. Okay, there, I got it. this is more than one place. So let me come over here. Okay. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into what does it mean by good? The clean fish, pursuant to what is that? Leviticus 11. But cast the bad away. Remember, use the wheat and the tares. So you're gonna have Edomites that look like Jakes. You got to cast them out. You're gonna have actual other nations. You're gonna have to cast them. That's why you got the 12 tribes sign. It says, "So shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire." I'm not going to cast them into a real oven. It's parabolic talk for the missiles going to hit them in America. The oven is America. Malachi 4:1. The day comes that shall burn as an oven. The oven is America. That's the topic right there. The oven is America. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. The Messiah saith unto them, Have ye understood all these things? They say unto him, Yeah, Lord. So I just wanted to bring that out. Let's come back over here. Where am I? Okay. And this right, that's beautiful, because this is ruins. I guess this is in Jerusalem. And you can see this is go back, show you the architecture, the old school bricks, the dome. So this was built way before 1925. So you had the Canaanites, who was up in Israel, was pushed out. 70 AD. You got to go into the history. If you're a Christian, you know, if you go into Luke chapter 19, Luke chapter 21, to give you an example, and for that matter, Mark 13, Matthew 24, it speaks about 70 AD. A Christian will say, well, those whole chapters are talking about now. No. That's why people get it confused. When you go to Luke 21, for example, or Luke 19, it speaks about the time that we're living in, and back 2,000 years ago, during 70 AD. So this has to go back to 70 AD. See, there was a constant fight to get back Jerusalem by the Israelites. The Byzantine Empire going into the Crusades, it was about getting back. And they did get the land back, Jerusalem back. And that's featured in that movie, The Kingdom of Heaven. Liam Neeson was in it. What's this other guy? The English actor, young dude. So these buildings go back 2,000 years. Now that Saladin is an actual living person that he pushed the Jakes out of there, out of Jerusalem, and he came up in there. That's in the movie. That good movie. The King. If you didn't see the movies, good movie. And the guy, the Saladin, granted the Israelites mercy that they wouldn't kill them, but we're going to take the city till the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Luke 21. Yeah, back in 1925, they were living like the ancient world, man. Yay, you didn't go home and hit the button on your CP, your personal computer. You didn't watch TV. They didn't go to the movies. They lived like the ancient world.
We do this to meet our consumers' dietary needs and to support those looking for sustainable wellness options.
The small hats had to Europeanize the land.
Arabic-speaking Muslims became the majority by roughly the 10th and 12th centuries and held the greatest numbers for the subsequent approximately 800 to 1,000 years until the 20th century shifts. Now, that's an accurate representation that Jews formed the majority in antiquity and maintained an unbroken presence for 3,000 years. There are Jews that are still living there on the land today that have been there forever and ever and ever. And he goes...
Yeah, they ultimately got there in 1948, but the Rothschilds were going there before that.
Goes on to say that
it was behind the Rothschilds that got them into the land and told them, "Oh, you're the Israelites." Oh, really? Coming out of Poland, Germany, Ukraine. A lot of them are Ukrainian.
Though this group has reduced over the last 1,500 years, why is that group reduced? Some of them have left, but a lot of them converted out of Judaism because it's a religion, not anything other than a religion. Despite what they try to teach you, when they try to say, no, it's an ethno-religion, it's more than a religion, no, it isn't, because people convert out of it all the time, and people convert into it. Not all the time, but it happens, right?
And that's, if anything, that's what the small hats are. They're converts. That's why they have a thing called Judaism. That's why they don't accept us as the one Westers. If we say, they say they'll accept us if we accept Judaism, which is a religion to Judaize. I went through that the other day in the book of Esther, chapter 8.
Like I said, the vast majority of Jews, the 10 tribes, converted out. So obviously it's not an ethnicity, it's actually just a religion. So then it goes on to say, I say to Grok, this next said, Grok, I didn't ask you what religion they were. Many people converted from Judaism to Christianity to Islam. In fact, most historical Jewish families converted out of Judaism. Is it possible that many of the modern Palestinians are direct descendants of the ancient people of the Levant? So, Jews. And Grok's answer is yes. Genetic studies show modern Palestinians derive the majority of their ancestry, often 80% plus, from Bronze Age Levantine Canaanite populations, the same deep substrate shared with Jewish groups.
So because of my office also in the parliament, they also approached me, the government of Israel. So can
Yeah, because you got communities in Africa. I believe this is Nigeria. There's a large community of Nigerians that believe that they're the descendants of the Israelites, but they don't have the full. They don't know. Let's go into prophecy. None of them understand prophecy. So the Holy Spirit is not dealing with these people. They just know that they're Israelites.
Can you help us to collect some samples of DNA? We want to do our own tests because we are hearing about your claim that you are Jews, but we want to do our own test on you. So I told them that it's not easy to go and tell someone that I want to collect your blood. It's not easy. So no, we don't take blood, we take saliva. So oh, that's okay. So they sent me a kit from Tel Aviv. Then I collected some saliva, some DNA samples. It was about 200 from the member and about 60 from non-members. And I sent it to Israel. So a year later, I went back to Israel to collect the results. And I met a guy at a hotel called Ramat Rashel Hotel in Jerusalem. So he gave me the results. So
I'm gonna let this play. I gotta go use the bathroom real quick.
We were talking, we were sitting in the lounge. He said, do you see that? Because in Israel, there's a lot of black people, black boys doing the manual work, they sweep the roads, they run around, they sweeping, cleaning the hotels and all that. So there was one black boy, I think he's from Sudan or Ethiopia. Said, look at you see that boy? I said, yes. He said, his gene percentage is about 20.
Luke 21, the heathens are in that land. They got to be pushed out. Let me just go to that. I'm going to read that in a couple of versions. Back to the basics, back to the basics, back to the basics. Luke 21. And I'm going to go right to the word Gentile or Gentiles. Okay, it's only there 2 times. Wow. This is 70 AD. You got scholars say it's talking about, matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Right, and I mentioned Mark 13, the return of the Messiah. This right here is 70 AD. For these are the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Remember in Ezekiel 25 and 12 on down, they came at us in vengeance, payback, because they were the Edomites. So when the Edomites came back, they came back as the Romans. Small had to tell you that, but one warned to them that with child and give suck in those days. And I'm gonna focus on this, see what David Guzik has to say about it. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, 70 AD, and shall be led away captive into all nations. That's why you had the heathens come up in there. And we had Israelites that were still in that region. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles as of right now, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. They're getting ready to get blasted out of there. That's why that place, Levant, is going to be blasted out. Let me do this. Let me just see what the commentary is. David, okay, Luke 21. Study guide for Luke 21. Okay, I want to go down to the latter verses. Bear with me for a minute. See, we go into study tools. Okay, that's 3. That's way down there. Let me bring it down. Matter of fact, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, when these things the Gentiles believe, 7-year period, pointing to the Jewish. He got it wrong. Daniel 9 took place already. Begins the calamity. The Gentiles shall not always tread down Jerusalem. We told you these scholars don't know the prophecies. Jerusalem be trampled by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be over, and Jerusalem will be trampled on Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Jerusalem will be trampled on after the destruction of Jerusalem. The Jews, a period of verses, there would come a long period when Jerusalem would be dominated by Gentiles. After thousands of years of exile, a Jewish state was and he set up by the small hats, established in 1948. Let me do this. Let me do 70. Okay, 7 years. Okay, he doesn't mention 70 AD. He keeps going into 7-year period. Daniel 9. Nope, wrong. So he doesn't mention anything about 70 AD.
%. So he said, but with us here, if you look at me, I'm a Jew, but my percentage is 1.5%. That's my DNA percentage. But with those
people around the world that have this.
Now this Edomite.
Real leaders fix broken systems. That's why Congressman Mike Lawler fought for us and delivered
This Israelite identity is really.
He said this guy right here. What is his name? I forget the guy's name. He says that we're the Israelites. That we're the true descendants of the Israelites.
100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity.
There's really 100 million people.
He's talking about us. Rosenberg, I think his name is.
People around the world that have this Israelite identity.
Is there a reason
He's set up by the small hats.
that the Jewish people that represent, and I want to get back to this because you didn't let me finish a while ago, they represent 0.2% of the world's population. In the entirety of the world, there are about 16 million Jews total.
And see, he don't understand because it said sand of the sea. There's got to be, in my spiritual estimation, if there's 8 billion people, 4 billion got to be Israelites. This is my numbers I'm throwing out there.
In the entirety of the world, there are about 16 million Jews total.
There's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity.
It's way more than that.
16 million.
100 million.
16 million.
There's really 100 million people around the world that have this Israelite identity coming from the tribes. And Israel's, smaller than the size in New Jersey. Is it sustainable to think in the way of having to convert and bring back? And if you look at the Lemba, they don't even want to convert. They said, why are we converting to something we're already part of?
I'll be honest.
The lamb is supposed to be Levi.
I came into this village and the first word I heard was shalom,
Yes.
a Hebrew word.
Yes.
How is that possible? How is it that the Lemba are speaking Hebrew?
The Lembas are the original Hebrews, and they were scattered, as you know, and they crossed into
Now these are Israelites.
Africa. So they were scattered all over. So in South Africa, in many parts of South Africa, you find the Lembas who are actually Hebrews.
Hebrews. So the Lembas claim to be descendants of ancient Israelites?
Not claim, they are.
They are.
They are.
Okay.
We are the original African Hebrew. We are scattered all over.
Local religious conversions to Christianity and later Islam occurred over centuries with substantial population continuity rather than replacement. So this is not a group of Arabs that showed up and invaded the land. These are people that over time started speaking Arabic and over time converted to Christianity and then converted to Islam. But they're the same people. They're the same people. And that is what genetic tests have proven. The broader Jewish people preserved ethno-religious identity via diaspora endogamy, which is marrying themselves, through Levantine Jewish numbers, though Levantine Jewish numbers declined partly through conversion and emigration. So some left and some converted out of Judaism. So then I asked Brock, okay, so in scientific numbers, the Arabic-speaking Muslim practicing populations in the Levant are the largest group of people living on that land for the longest amount of time. They outnumber the Jews who are arriving this past century and are even more indigenous to the land than many of the modern Jews who claim to be indigenous to the land. That's my statement to Grok. And Grok says both share substantial Bronze Age Levantine Canaanite ancestry. Palestinians often 80% plus. Many Jewish groups are 50% to 90%. Local conversions created Arabic-speaking Muslim majorities with continuity. So that means they didn't immigrate in. They've been there forever. They learned new languages. They adopted new religions. That's who these people are. Jews kept ethno-religious identity and continuous communities. Modern arrivals include Mizrahi and High Levantine DNA, plus diaspora returnees. Genetics show shared deep roots, not exclusive claim by recent language or faith. He's saying their cousins are the same people. Many of them are the same people.
Another damn commercial.
Then I said, okay, Grok, which group has the most Levantine DNA that in sheer numbers is larger and has been there longer? Modern Jews or the current Arab-speaking populations? And Grok says, Arab-speaking Levantine populations, especially Palestinians, typically show higher average Bronze Age Levantine Canaanite ancestry, often 70 to 87%, and form larger continuous local numbers with longer uninterrupted residences after antiquity through continuity and conversions. Jewish groups share the same deep substrate, 50% to 90% by subgroup, plus continuous communities. Many modern numbers reflect diaspora returns. Studies confirm shared roots. So, when they say, oh, it's the Jews, the ancient Jews of the Bible who are coming home and God said, they're actually massacring the true Jews who actually have been there throughout this entire time. That's why I call many, especially the Ashkenazi Jews, I call them trans Jews. They're not real Jews. They converted 800.
They may come and pay you a visit. You gotta be careful. Candace Owens, they may come and pay you a visit unless you're an insider. Let me see. You're seeing what's going on here. I already know why. Women be dressing with the tight, all of them, all of them. Gym I go to, all of me wearing tights. Let me see. When Americans lose their homes, this is the real threat to everyone else. Hey, I saw a homeless woman in the car. She had a dog in the back, and I knew she had her stuff in the back and a big dog, little cute Edomite looking chick. And I'm looking out and say, yeah, she homeless. She living in that car. There was this one video, damn, I was watching earlier, where a woman said that she's about to get homeless and she's willing to live with a man. And she actually said this, Edomite looking woman. She was on OnlyFans, but you know, she got a little older. She still looked good, but she's a little older. And she said, I'm willing to live with a man. And she said, I'm willing to pay for my own food, cook for myself, pay for everything, except I don't have money for rent. So can I live with you, but I won't eat any of your food? So you know what immediately came to mind. And that's happening. The Jake women gonna have to. Jake women don't convert, come out of that. They gonna be, you know, out there by themselves. The Edomite women, the Mother Nation women are opening up. They see the light. They see that the kingdom of heaven is coming back to us. Give me a second. I don't want to go too long. Okay, Anton Daniels. Why can't we put Jesus as King on our cans? Man exposes Coca-Cola for being against Christians. And the Messiah wouldn't dare drink Coca-Cola. There's nothing but a slow death. Bear me for a minute, please. Seeing what else. It is becoming entertainment with Captain Zariak. Just teach the Israelites who they are. Anyway. Okay, did I see this already? 144 event is feeling like a slave in Babylon still. Don't think you're a slave. Check this out, which I will. Mississippi woman found deceased in tree. Family demands justice. Anyway, Shalom, on to the next.